It is time to put these two weapons to the test. It is hardtail versus full suspension mountain bike. Which is faster? In the red corner, aka the hardtail corner, we have the Giant XTC. For a quick rundown of the bike for those that haven't seen it: full carbon, we've got 100mm of travel up front, NV wheels, full SRAM XX1 electronic shifting and a Magura dropper seat post. And in the blue corner, aka the full suspension, we have the Giant Anthem. We've got SRAM XO crank, SRAM GX rear mech, 110mm of travel up front, dropper seat post, fourth carbon wheels, and the one most important thing for this testing: they both have the same tyres. We've got Racing Ralph on the back and a Racing Ray on the front, so it should be a completely fair test. We're going to be testing these bikes over a flat segment, a twisty segment, a climb and a downhill to decide once and for all which one of these bikes is faster. Full suspension or hardtail mountain bike, comment down below what you think, but let's get into it. Right, so the plan of action, seeing as I'm not GMBN, I am doing this solo. The plan is head out on the Anthem first, hit the 3 or 4 segments, and then go back home, change bike, get the hardtail out. Now I know everyone's in the comments probably already like, it's obvious the full sus is faster. If you've got a glass back and you can't handle a hardtail, don't cry about it. I do not know what bike's going to be fastest. The plan is the same way I race. Every segment, full gas. I think I'm gonna get all the efforts out of the way first, like the twisty segment, the climb, and then I'll leave the descent to last. This is gonna be painful. I haven't done much hard training or riding, so rest in peace my legs. Let's get there. Give it the beans. Segment 1, we're starting with the twisty wood section. I think this is called Iron Age in reverse. I'm literally just going to ping it. I tried to set this camera up so I could have like a POV shot. I can't adjust it any more than pointing at my crutch, so if you want to see that, like and subscribe, but this is going to hurt. Let's go. Yo, that was spicy meatballs. Jeez. Putting it out there right now, the hardtail, I'll be surprised if it gets close to that. I was feeling like a pro. That was sending. Like the full suspension just goes through single track and descents fast. There's no two ways about it. We're going to do the climb next. Last time I'd done this, I blew up, so I picked a shorter climb. So the margins are probably going to be very tight because there's only so fast you can go up a 30-second climb. Here we go. The thought of having to do this climb twice takes a bit of my soul. But there is the climb. It doesn't look like much, but I think the segment's called Steep Shitty Climb. So yeah, you get the gist. It's loose, it's rocky. On the Anthem, I'm gonna be using lockout. Is that cheating? No, it is part of the bike. Let's get it. Ow. Oh. Holy cow. Yeah. Oh. Wowzers, that was grippy. And I'm a bit concerned that that segment's going to be too short to show any difference. But we'll see at the end. Like, I genuinely don't think you can go any faster. Like, you're just pure anaerobic. Right, we've got one flat drag that we're gonna whack and then a descent, and then the bike change. I'm gonna be hanging out after this. Here we go. Flat drag, my worst nightmare. Oh, this sucks. Oh, I'm dribbling. Last one, thankfully, it's the descent. Straight down, full gas, fully open, drop it down. Pray for me. I've got to do that all again on another bike. This is brutal. Part 2 coming up. We're now on the Hardtail, the Giant XTC. Worst bit is, I live at the bottom of the hill. To get to the trails, I've got to climb all the way up to the top. But I have a feeling this will be faster on the flat, the climb, probably not the descent or the single track. I know all the full sus riders are probably sitting on their sofa right now, ready to type, I hope your back don't blow out. Get tougher! Right. Pray for me, I've got to get back to the top first. And then straight in, same order. Single track, climb, flat, descent. Let it rip. So, no messing about, straight in. We're hitting the single track, full gas. Let's go. Wow. Oh, got snot. Bad, I'm in a bad way. This hurts. Oh, I'm getting too old for this. I need to hire someone next time to do the efforts and I'll just film it. Whew. Now that I've had that comparison of a fast whack through the single track on a full suspension and then on the hardtail, this felt like light, twitchy in some of the corners, whereas the Anthem was just absolutely eating it. I'll be surprised that if I'm anywhere near that time, and I was trying to push it, it felt slower. That's all I can say. Maybe I'm wrong, but off feeling it definitely felt slower. Right, we've got to do the climb now for the weight weenies out there. It is about 2 kilos lighter, this bike, with everything. There's loads of parts that are lighter, it's not just the frame. But let's hit the climb. Here we go. Ow, I'm actually not sure what was faster there. Almost took that dog out. Sorry dog, all for the content. I'm not gonna lie, I think the Anthem got a big advantage of the fact that I'm wrecked. This is the hardest training session of my life. Right, one more effort and then we get to ride downhill. Easy spin to try and get the legs working again, and then full gas on the flat segment is straight into a headwind, which is just awful. But I think I've got one more effort in me. Just. That felt fast though. I need a minute. one last effort. Dropper post is down, and I'm Shell City. There's no two ways about this. We've got the descent to do though. Let's go. Wowzers, that's a spicy meatball session, and to top it off, I've now got to go back up the climb. Jeez, the lactate when you're doing efforts like that is wild, but there's only one thing left to do: check the results, give it the debrief, and see what was faster, hardtail or full suspension. So the all-important results and the most important part of the video, and I was so surprised by some of these results, but which bike was faster, the Giant XTC hardtail or the Giant Anthem full suspension? I went full gas in both of these efforts, and we're going to start with Iron Age, which was the flat twisty segment, and I've got to look at my laptop to get all the numbers right, but on the Anthem I'd done a 1:59, which would have been a PB and put me third on the Strava segment leaderboard. Now I genuinely felt like I was flying through there on the Anthem. So when I went on the hardtail, it felt twitchy, it didn't feel as fast, it didn't feel as smooth, but somehow I went 1 second faster. It was a 1:58 on the hardtail, and I don't know if there's like nothing in that 1 second. That could be like satellite going or something on the Wahoo, so that is basically like a dead heat, but the hardtail technically did win by 1 second, and it blows my mind that I can't even tell you how that happened, because it felt so much faster on the Anthem, but what I'm thinking is maybe it just felt smoother because of the full suspension, whereas I felt like I was probably working harder on the hardtail because it was probably a little bit bumpier, stuff like that. So maybe what we need to take into account is, did I get a lot more upper body fatigue and stuff like that from the hardtail, although it went a second faster, but pretty much nothing in that on the twisty segment. I thought the Anthem was going to steal that one, but my mind is blown. Up next we had the climb, which was called Steep Shitty Climb, and effort one, I actually have the KOM on this climb, and no, I didn't beat it. I don't have the minerals for that, but it's one of the only comms I've got, so if you want to try and nab it off me, and I got the KOM on a hardtail. But Steep Shitty Climb on the Anthem, we had 38 seconds, and almost exactly the same time the hardtail wins again with 37 seconds, so 1 second faster again, and maybe that climb's not long enough, so we might have to do a test where I find like a 6-7 minute climb and then see what the difference is, because the margins are just so small on that particular effort. You're going just all out, and that was my second fastest time up there. My PB up there is 35 seconds. I've done it in 37, and 38, so that is pretty impressive still. But the hardtail, unfortunately, full suspension riders, takes the win again. And this is where the effort was. There was a bit of a bigger margin in this next one. So the test flat effort, it was 0.88 of a kilometre. It was almost like pan flat, and on the Anthem I was a 1:24, but on the hardtail, the XTC, I was a 1:20, so a full 4 seconds faster. And I'll be honest, there was a couple of factors in this. It 100% felt faster on the hardtail. It felt like all my power was going through the pedals, and that bike just does shift on the flats. The other problem is it had a bigger chainring. I felt like for the first time in my life I was spinning out a little bit on the Anthem, so the Anthem did get a little bit of a disadvantage on that, but what can you do racing the bikes as they are? So yeah, the chainring is slightly bigger on the Hardtail, and I felt like I was just able to keep on top of a nice cadence when it went downhill a little bit. But yep, the Hardtail did win again. But the last one, I think these were PBs as well. We used Roller Coaster, it's called, for the descent, and this one absolutely blew my mind yet again. So on the Anthem 42 seconds, it felt faster. It felt faster than the Hardtail. I think it was just a case of it feeling smoother and less hard work, but the Hardtail went faster again with 41 seconds. Now that honestly blows my mind, but then again, I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna say I probably had more fatigue when I got to the bottom of that descent on the Hardtail, but it was faster, ladies and gentlemen. So what can I say? The results are in, and the fastest bike between the Anthem and the XTC is in fact the Hardtail. Maybe it's because I've been racing it a lot, riding it a lot. It's got a bit of an advantage there because I've just got so used to it recently and just feel really comfortable on it, and it's probably one of the most comfortable bikes I've ridden in terms of like position and everything. So maybe it had a bit of an advantage, but I was blown away by those results. I thought the Singletrack and the downhill was a no-brainer. It was going to be the Anthem, but it wasn't. But we're going to have to do some more testing on a slightly longer climb when I've got a little bit more fitness. But it was absolutely wicked to make this video, and the margins are absolutely nothing. So if you prefer a Hardtail, get a Hardtail. If you prefer a full sus, get a full sus. And a big caveat on this is obviously the more technical the area is. Like for me, I can get away with a Hardtail in all my local races, my local trails. If I went up to Scotland, if I went to Europe, I would need the Anthem. So there's swings and roundabouts with everything. That's why it's so good to have multiple tools to race with, etc. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and full susser is slower for me anyway. It might be different for you guys, but I'll catch you in the next video.